very blessed Wednesday morning. You're here with me, Amaya. And of course, to all our viewers who are celebrating the festival of Vesak, let me wish you a very peaceful Vesak. And I hope that the teachings of the Buddha will guide you in your lives, with your friends and family as well, and lead you to a better and more fulfilling life. And of course, when we speak about the significance of Vesak, we all know that it is the birth, the enlightenment, as well as the passing away of the Buddha that we celebrate on this blessed festival day. But there's also a deeper meaning in this. How can we incorporate the teachings or the Dhamma of the Buddha into our daily lives and lead a stressful life where the hustle and bustle of our lives can sometimes make us forget that there is a deeper goal that we're trying to achieve. So this is what today's show is dedicated to, and to help us and to teach us today, this morning on the program, we have with us a very honorable presence in the studio today, the Venerable Dr. Mirissa Dhammikathero. He is the chief incumbent of the Siri Sudasanarama Sadaham Senasuna, and he is with us this morning. Thank you so much, Venerable Sir, for accepting our invitation.
Thank you.
And may the blessings of the Triple Gem be with you this blessed day.
Yeah, same to you and everybody. I would like to wish everyone to be well and happy on this Vesak Poya day.
And now, before we go into again speaking about the deeper meaning of what Lord Buddha has taught us and how we can incorporate it into our just day-to-day lives, let's find out about your journey, Venerable Sir, and how you came to be in this position as the chief incumbent right now. But let's hear about the roots and the beginning.
Yes, I came from the rural area of Mirissa, in Mathura district in southern province in Sri Lanka. I was 9 years old. I got this kind of ideas to become a monk. At the very beginning of my life, I was talking to my mother about my idea, but my mother did not like at that time. But when I asked her again and again, finally she gave me the permission, and then she took me to the temple, and then chief incumbent of that temple in that area, actually he accepted me to grant ordination. And then finally, at the age of 9, I became a monk. I think it's my sansaric journey. As Buddhists, we believe in rebirth. So even from my sansaric journey, I think mainly I was practicing the Buddha's teaching as a monk. This is what I feel even today. Wherever I go, even out of Sri Lanka, always I feel I'm a monk. I have to act, I have to behave as a monk. So this is what I feel all the time. Even Miss Amaya, I was in Colombo University. Yeah, since 1984 to 1987, I was in Colombo University. Even at that time, I followed the Buddha's noble teachings while studying over there. At the same time, I was teaching at D.S. Senanayake College, Colombo 7, with 7,000 students. I was the only monk teacher there. I was trying to get them into Buddhism to practice with their daily activities. Finally, I got an invitation from Vancouver. The Buddhists, those who are living in Vancouver area. Finally, I left Sri Lanka in 1994. I was conducting meditation classes. At the same time, I started a Dhamma school, especially for Sri Lankans, those who are living in Vancouver, Canada.
I see.
Yes. Also, Miss Samaya, when I teach meditation, especially to foreigners, those are non-Sri Lankans, I had kind of problems, giving this message, what the Buddha explained us to apply into our day-to-day activities, because I am having lack of knowledge of their culture and traditions, right? And then I entered a university, it's a national university in Burnaby, Vancouver. And then I followed masters and PhD in field of education. Yeah, I did my research on the area of how to get rid of stress through mindfulness and loving kindness meditations. Also, I did research on the area of mindfulness. We call as sati in the Buddha's noble teachings. So that's the path where I was at that time. At the same time, I'm here today. Yeah.
And as the chief incumbent, I'm sure that you come across many people who may really not be aware. They may know the teaching, they may know of the teaching, but they don't know how to incorporate it into their lives. Especially when you speak about mindfulness and loving kindness, it sometimes becomes very difficult, the way that some people behave around us, to really keep these things in mind. So what's the way that you use to address these people and to really help them find that path?
Yeah, you know, Miss Amaya, first thing is we have to go to the bottom. You know, especially in Sri Lanka, Buddhists are getting more familiar with giving. I mean, with dana. They like to give lots of things, right?
Definitely.
But they are sometimes, I feel, they are reluctant to apply the deep teachings into day-to-day activities. This is what I felt when I look back, right, in my monk's lifestyle. But when we come to the bottom of our culture and traditions in Buddhism, we have to start with our rituals, so-called rituals, but of course they are not rituals, but people used to say rituals, for instance, offering flowers in front of the Buddhist statues, and then practicing, like in Sinhala Dansala, distributions of food, and then doing processions of Perahara. When they do those kind of things, people used to think those are kind of rituals. Sometimes I feel it's not. Miss Amaya, we have to teach this way, especially our children. When you offer flowers in front of the Buddha statue, just see in Pali words, Pujemi Buddhang Kusumena Nena Punyena Mete Nacha Hotu Mokan, so on and so forth. I'm going to offer these beautiful fragrant blossoms in front of the Buddha statue. I know these flowers are subject to withered.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Before getting withered, I picked those flowers up and then brought to the Buddha. I offered the Buddha with these beautiful blossoms. I know. Puppam milayati yatai dhamme kayo tathayati vinasabhavang. As these flowers withered, my body is going to be changed and getting sick. So, what I'm supposed to do? Of course, before having lots of changes in your life, that means before having, before losing your age and getting sicknesses and things, work harder. As a children, be an obedient child into your family. Right? When you come to the temple, you have to be a, good upasaka or upasika, because you took refuge in the Buddha. You have to be a calm and quiet person, being in the temple. At the same time, being in front of your parents, you have to be a, very obedient child, and then they feel kind of lots of beautiful and nice feelings in their hearts. At the same time, when they go to schools, actually they have to work harder and then study well. They have to respect their teachers. Why? We are losing our energy, our physical and mental energy, moment by moment. It's having constant changes. This body is having constant changes. We are losing very fast. So we have to work harder to, achieve our goal. So when we offer beautiful, fragrant blossoms in front of the Buddhist statue, as monks, we are not going to invite anyone to cry by thinking, oh, kayo tathayati vinasabhama, like these flowers we are going to decay, we are going to die. Of course not. We are not going to invite anyone to cry. But see the real nature of this life. See the truth of this nature. Of course, we are losing our physical and mental energy. Anytime we may leave this world. Before that, before that we have to fulfill our duties towards myself, being a good person, good human into this world, regardless of country, gender, race, religion, skin color, so on and so forth. And then I have to work towards myself to be a good person, good citizen into this country, or good human into this world. At the same time, of course, you have to do some work towards your family members. At the same time, we have to do some services towards this country. This is my birthplace. This is what we are going to invite people while offering flowers in front of the Buddha statue, right? At the same time, Miss Amaya, I would like to let devotees know, though you are following rituals like that, so-called rituals, just offering flowers anyway, at the same time, especially you have to know what the Buddha taught us, apply into our day-to-day lives, right? Can I ask a question, Miss Amaya?
Of course.
Yes.
Of course,
So why cancer hospital is there at Maharagama? Why cancer hospital is there at Maharagama? Because of lots of patients. Yes, it's improving, right? Not even at Maharagama, those kind of hospitals, but all over the world there are many, right? There are many patients are suffering because of this cancer. So there are lots of very serious and strong sicknesses. So I would like to ask devotees or people used to say, this is my body. This is my body. This is what I really need. Somehow I want to get it, right? Rather than I have no life, so I have to get it. Somehow I have to get it. This is my idea. This is my dream. People used to say, but I would like to remind people, that's fine. Conventionally, you have to address, it's me. This is my life. This is my body. Of course, you have to keep this body clean. Brush off your teeth, wash your face, clean up your body, comb your hair. That's fine, go ahead. But still remember, though conventionally you are going to call this is your body, but absolutely nothing to say my or mine. Even with your single hair, you don't have any control over this. When you lose your hair on your head, of course you may die. I mean, just have it, you may have kind of color, to change your, the color, getting white, but still you are helpless. You become helpless because of, this impermanent situation. So that's why I would like to remind people, of course, you have to work hard, make money, but should be rightful. Right? You have to make money rightfully. You are not supposed to, kill people, hurt or harm other people. You are not supposed to touch even which is not belongs to you, right? You are not supposed to steal, so and so forth. At the same time, you are not supposed to misbehave, especially, following sexual misbehavior. It's, growing problem even in Sri Lanka today, Ms. Samaya. Unfortunately, we have to mention, remember, conventionally, you are doing things by calling this is it's me, she is in my life, he is in my life. When we talk to our parents used to say their children, you are in my life. My dear child, my darling, without you I can't survive, I can't live in this world, because of you, I'm doing everything because of you. Of course, you are supposed to do whatever the things rightfully. You have to fulfill your duties towards your children. Of course you are supposed to do. But remember, though you are calling my child or my children, my wife, my husband, so on, but absolutely even single bodily hair, you don't have a control over that. When they get loose, you don't have a control over that. Actually, when we face for those problems, I mean this nature of this world, we become innocent and helpless. That's the truth. So we have to realize, therefore you have to do whatever the things you need, but should be, this kind of in a virtuous way. Right, in a right way. Otherwise, just you are violating rules in Buddhism. At the same time, in culture and tradition all over the world.